everyone, it's Nasaria, and in this video I'd like to go over the patch notes that came out a couple weeks ago, as well as a data mine that has some new information about things that could be coming to the Elder Scrolls Online. Make sure you watch the entire video so you know all the patch notes that are important for Update 45, as well as the data mine and all the goodies contained inside. As always, if you subscribe to this video and like it helps me keep making videos just like this, so hit that subscribe button and let's get started. We have some patch notes that I recently read through again and found some good things that I wanted to mention that wasn't mentioned on the stream with Gina and Jess, where they went over some of the new things coming out with Update 45. I think there's some good things in here to talk about, so we'll get into that now. The first things first is that I know I touched on the 2 new houses we will be getting with Update 45, but I totally missed that we're going to be getting some new furnishings. One of which is a new weather control furnishing, Chironest's Icon of Storm Control, which will allow us to choose the weather in the houses. This is going to be very similar to the Sacred Hourglass of Alkosh, where you can set the day. I'm really hoping that we can add some snow, maybe some rain and thunder to our houses. I think this could create another aesthetic and add some really cool environmental factors to housing. So I'm really excited to see this, and I hope it's something that we can use our tickets to get. It's also going to be something where if it's added to the Master Writ vendor, like the Hourglass is, although it goes under a different name, I believe it's the Tribunal Chronometer or something like that, you can also purchase this and sell it for a decent amount of gold. So that's going to be something to look for in future updates. We're also getting a ton of new furnishing plans, which typically are a great way to farm for gold in future patches. So if you're on the hunt for how you can make some gold in Update 45, selling these new plans is the way to go. It sounds like a lot of them are going to be coming out of the Westweald daily quest boxes, completing Mirror mosaics. So those are going to continue to be things that you can go do in Westweald, hit those dailies up and get some extra bonus chances here at getting some of these new plans. There's also going to be 14 new alien themed recipes that we can find in Westweald, the Gold Coast, and Blackwood from bonus loot when excavating antiquities. So that's really exciting. I love to see that there's always bonuses here when you are digging for antiquities. I know sometimes it can be a pain, so any incentive that I can have to go do it and dig up those items, I'm happy to see it. Especially in something like Blackwood, where if you get the Akaviri motif, that's exciting anyway, so if you go dig it up and you get a plan, that's double the win, double the money. In addition, there's going to be a Colovian bed canopy full furnishing that you can get from Monsters, Containers, and More in Westfield once again. And of course, they're also going to have the 7 new Master Writ furnishings, which you can purchase from Rawless. So pretty exciting here. I love to see all the new furnishings. I think some of the alien ones that they've already added look really nice, so I'm excited to see what else is coming out of this as well. Now, in addition to that, they're also going to be converting disguises to collectibles, which I'm super excited about. I feel like I always have one that I don't realize on a character, and it's taking up inventory space. So while they haven't converted all of them, they've converted quite a few, which you can see in the patch notes here. And I think it's a lot of the main ones that I find in my inventory. So I'm really excited that this is going to become a collectible and it's going to stop taking up inventory space. I think this is also going to be really helpful for new players. It just makes sense. I feel like the appearance tab is kind of confusing. I'm also hoping that they'll do this with guild tabards in the future, because I would love to wear my tabard, but it's kind of a shame when you're not wearing a costume. It can cover your outfit, and I know a lot of people work really hard on their outfits and want to show them off. So I'm hoping that we can have this as a collectible where it just shows in our tag. And if you want to show off the tabard, that's one thing. You can choose to do that, but you can also choose to hide it. So that's not coming with Update 45, but I'm hopeful that maybe we'll get that in the future since they're starting to convert these disguises. We're also going to be getting a Prologue Quest, which is really interesting since we don't really know where we're going to be going in terms of the new playable content. It's not going to be a chapter like it was. And curiously enough, we're looking at the resurgence of the Worm Cult, and we're going to be helping Prince Azah of Sentinel confront them. There's something called Soul Reapers, which now threaten the Fighters and Mages Guild. So we're going to be teaming up with old allies to help figure out what is going on with this return of the Worm Cult. So this is going to be available in the Crown Store like always, or in some of the areas you can pick up the quest in Daggerfall, Vocal Guard, or Davin's Watch. It sounds like Prince Azah is a new student of the Fighters Guild, which I'm excited to see. I think this is kind of getting back to building upon older content like the Fighters and Mages Guild. So I'm excited to see this. Maybe we really are going to be going somewhere in Hammerfell if we're starting off in Sentinel, or maybe this is going to queue up something where the Worm Cult is actually in Blackmarsh and we're going to be figuring out that they are in that location. So a lot of times the starter quests aren't in the zone itself, but they're setting up the story there. So I'm kind of interested that we're getting started with the Fighters Guild and that it's in Sentinel, but I still think we're going somewhere in Blackmarsh. So to be determined on that. I'm also excited to see that they mentioned the Mages Guild, which my theory of us going to Winterhold later in the year still stands strong. So hopefully we'll be seeing Gabrielle appear with some information for us where we need to go to. Another really cool thing that I saw in the PTS notes is there's going to be some new player response options and a new way to gauge with NPCs. So it sounds like they're adding some more role-playing options so that if you want your character to portray a certain personality traits, you can now do that in game. So there's going to be dialogue choices that you can encounter with NPCs during quests that are kind, grim, merciful, ruthless, joker, or flirty. So I think this could be a really fun way to maybe get into some older quests, replay them, see some of these responses. And I'm excited to see how they'll use them in new content as well. I'm not sure like what the consequences of these actions are going to be, but I think it'll be fun to see these different role-playing options and how we can use them. There's also going to be a new themed encounter. They are called Reaper Strikes, and it's involved with the new Worm Cult Emergent as well. And so those strange new devices, the Soul Reapers, have begun to surface across all of Tamriel, and of course are coinciding with the resurgence of the Worm Cult. So to engage in these events, to rescue the people they're trying to sacrifice, and stop the Worm Cult from becoming even bigger, if you successfully complete a Reaper Strike, you'll unlock the ability to purchase a unique furnishing from the achievement vendor and collect fragments to acquire a new skill style. So it sounds like these Reaper Strikes are replacing the Dark Fissures, which once appeared throughout the base game of Tamriel, which are those little Daedric spawn points where a bunch of Daedra drop down and you can defeat them. So I'm excited to see that they're updating this and what else they're going to add to this in terms of the Worm Cult immersion. In addition to that, it sounds like we might be getting mini events. So instead of full-fledged events with tickets and fragments, they're just going to be boosting something in the game, and the first one that could happen is focused on crime. So it's a crime wave, and it's going to focus on criminal behavior in Tamriel with devious rewards. During this event, the number of daily fence interaction increases by 100%, and fencing is 25% more profitable, so you get 25% more gold. In addition, Dark Brotherhood and Thieves Guild daily quests will provide an additional box of their normal rewards, except the infinite repeatable ones from Kari's Tipboard and Alam's Mark for Death book. And furthermore, the activities of pickpocketing, theft from safe boxes, and looting thieves' troves have a chance to drop a pouch of ill-gotten goods. These can contain saleable contraband, furnishings, Dark Brotherhood or Thieves Guild consumables, a new consumable to improve your legerdemain skill, and a very small chance to find 1 million gold bounty pardon for you extra careless or uncaring criminals. So this is really cool. I love the idea of having mini events around things that people do in the game already, such as thieving and stealing. I think this could be a really good opportunity to farm for some of those plans that you get from pickpocketing, as well as a new consumable to improve your legerdemain skill. I mean, that would just be great because that's, while not the most annoying to level up, it would certainly help new players get that skill up without having to pocket unsuccessfully. So I'm really excited for this event. I hope that it does start happening after U45, and I'm excited to see what other mini events could come into play. There are also quite a few set and combat changes in the patch notes, and some new dungeon sets as well coming out with the new dungeons. In terms of the set updates, I think it's going to be mostly nerfs. The most interesting one that I could see, and for reference, I mostly trust Skinny with all of my set information. So if you haven't watched his videos and are curious about a deep dive in terms of max damage, check out Skinny Cheek's videos. They're great and give a lot of information. But from what I gathered on Reliquins, it's not really going to be changing too much in either direction. I think advanced groups are going to see a bit of a nerf. Beginner groups might get a slight buff, and it all comes down to that penetration. This was kind of a weird choice to put on Reliquins. If you're not taking advantage of the pen already, this could be very helpful. But I think in a lot of scenarios, that pen is there, so it's not going to be a buff. and I kind of wish that they had kept it all weapon and spell damage. I think that would have made the change more worth it, since crit chance is generally what you want over weapon and spell damage. It also sounds like they're nerfing Way of Fire. They're making this a max health set instead of a stamina set, which is a little bit weird considering it's a damage set, but it is heavy armor, so I don't know if they're trying to return it to more of that standard where heavy armor is max health. A little bit weird. They also changed it so the set only activates off light and heavy attacks rather than any weapon attack, so I think that's going to nerf this set as well. They also did a total rework of Poisonous Serpent. They changed the max stamina to weapon and spell damage and critical chance, but then further down they said they are reducing the damage of this hit by 92%, but it now always applies the poison status. And while this initially sounded good to me, the armor had a chance to trigger the poison before, and so I don't think that this is really going to be a buff, and in fact I think it's actually going to nerf this set even more. We'll have to see if they make any tweaks to it on PTS as the weeks go on, but overall I think the combat changes to existing sets were kind of disappointing and underwhelming. I was hoping that they would make some more tweaks to maybe give some of these sets some more balance, maybe some more use in PvE and PvP, but alas, I don't think that's going to be the case. In terms of the new dungeon sets, I think we're going to be getting, at least at this point, 2 decent sets. Jorenzi's Bladestorm and the Noxious Boulder sets are going to be great for burst damage. I don't think that they're going to be replacing any of the meta sets that we currently have, but I could see them being useful potentially in some solo builds and potentially in some heavy attack builds as well. So something to keep an eye on. I'm hoping that some of the other sets could possibly get some tweaks, making them better as well, so TBD on that. That's really it in terms of the patch notes. There's a lot of set changes, bug improvements, etc. And since I'm not a super expert at sets, I'm not going to get too far into them, but it's worth a look if you're interested in seeing the changes or checking them out on PTS if you have a PC account. Last but not least, we did have some data come through from a data mine, and I'll link the website that does this in the description so that if you're interested in reading more, you can find it there. And something to note with a data mine is that sometimes these things are put into the game and then they never come to fruition and they're not used. So just because it's in the data mine does not mean it's coming to the game. And also, if you don't want any spoilers about anything like that, now is a good time to stop the video. So just keep that in mind when going through this information. I think one of the biggest things is that it sounds like we're going to be getting Carnival crown crates, which have a lot of fun, colorful feathers and remind me of Mardi Gras and of course Carnival in South America. So I think this is going to be a really cool theme. And it also points again to the Black Marsh being important in this year's updates. I think one of the most notable things that I'm most excited about is that we are getting Barbas as a house guest, which is really cool. I love Barbas the dog. I think he's super funny. And of course, if you're a Skyrim fan, he appeared there as well. And he also shows up in some of the ESO content as well. So I think he's going to be a really cute house guest. And I'm excited to see that we might be getting even more characters as house guests this year as well. Fenorian, I'm looking at you. Sauce, I hope you're listening. We're also getting a Sanguine Gargoyle mount, which again is another nod to Sanguine. I think he's going to be an important Daedric Prince this year. But we've also never had a Gargoyle mount before. And I honestly, when I saw that it was a Gargoyle mount, I thought, are we getting flying mounts? But I don't think so. It looks almost like a dragon crossed with a cinch. And it's stony and has a gargoyle-esque face. So pretty cool though, I think, in terms of a mount. We haven't seen anything like this before, so I'm excited and hoping that that actually does come to the game. Now there's also a lot of new pets, emotes, arms packs, all kinds of good stuff in here. So check out the link in the description if you want to see more examples of that. But I'm excited to see that the Black Marsh theory is still going strong based on this data mine information. There is also a picture of all 3 heroes in their 10-year anniversary outfits. So I think at some point this year, we are going to be getting another Golden Pursuits where we can get the Breton hero armor version of this as well. I think they look really cool. I'm a fan of these costumes anyway, so seeing them get reprised and have some new added flair to them is pretty cool. That's all I have for you guys in this video. Thanks so much for watching. I think we're off to a great start in terms of quality of life improvements in the game, and I'm hoping to see some of the sets get some tweaks so we can be excited about those as well. There's also a ton of events happening right now, so I'm excited to get into the game and join in on the Golden Pursuits. the Pantamriel celebration, as well as TwitchCon streaming to get some drops. Let me know what you're most excited about in the comments below, or if I missed anything and you want to talk about it, you can let me know that too. I want to give a shout out to my member. Thank you so much for supporting my channel. And as always, if you subscribe to my channel and like this video, it helps me keep making videos just like this. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.